So this is a question I get often is, am I afraid? Do I have fear? Yes, I have fear of stuff. There's this idea that because I've met galactics, because I've met different beings, that I have no fear. That's actually not the truth. There's a lot of programmed fear that we deal with, that we transmute. Some of it's collective that we transmute. And it's a process of releasing it all. You don't release it all at once. You go through a process of releasing it. So, for example, the Sasquatches, when I met them, they met with me and we went through exercises. And same with the Galactics, we went through exercises where they taught me to cold camp. They worked in tandem together. The Sasquatches work with Galactics and in that. And cold camping meaning no fire, no flashlight, no lantern, no weapons, nothing of that sort. There's a lot of fear to process when you're doing that. My first meeting with them was like I had a staff. There were three Sasquatches around, and I was gripping it, and my knuckles were white, and I had imprints from the staff buried and dug into my hand because I had it so tight. Swinging it around like, how do I protect myself when these huge beings are here? And I process that fear by them just calmly showing themselves, calmly coming up to the campsite and helping me realize there was nothing to be afraid of with them. And then I went into the deserts and met with, wasp, the mantid, some of the zeta reticulans. I had a troll-like galactic come down in a ship, some other insectoids, that sort of thing. And same thing, no flashlights, no weapons, none of that. And we had to go through some very challenging meetings of them trying to get me to leave everything behind, to sit and trust them. And when I trusted them and was able to process the fear of like, okay, now I'm used to not having a flashlight, I feel comfortable, or used to not having a campfire, or used to putting my staff in, my staff was always my protection, or pocket knives or whatever they were. Couldn't have anything. It was trust building, also processing fear. And it's a very different experience. People say it time and again, I'm ready to meet a galactic, an extraterrestrial, a Sasquatch. There's a big difference between saying it and doing it. You have no idea what kind of vibration you're getting involved with, how polarizing it is, and just the sheer size and the physical likenesses that these beings have that have been programmed into us to fear. That is a completely different thing to be like, oh yeah, you know, I it's this whole thing of people will say it, but then when it comes time to do it, they won't actually do it. It's the people like who are always out there bragging that, hey, I'll fight, I'm the strongest, toughest person in the world. And through my experience, what I found is the people who are out there saying I'm the toughest person, I'm the strongest one, they're often the weakest because they're so unhealed. And a lot of fear in that scenario. So this is one of those things where fear is something I experience. It's something I transmute. It's something I dig deeper on. And yeah, I can sit and have Sasquatches come around now. Now, are they physically there? No, they stay out of phase. They stay in their dimensional space, but they come up. They give signs. They knock. They whistle. They do different things. Bang on the tent. I had one bang on the tent one time, phase in and bang on the tent and run away, laughing. They do different things to prove they're there. One of the things that happened the other day, about a week ago, is I was in my car. The moon was kind of off to the distance, falling, setting, I guess. And the stars were out. It was a clear night sky. I was in the same spot I'm parked now. I went to sleep. I woke up and I heard boom, 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 like really fast. So like boom, 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 boom. And this heavy footsteps running from across the street here over to my car, and the car was shaking because of the weight. I could feel the energy. I could see in my third eye this being running up. It was a Sasquatch, massive, massive Sasquatch. Runs up, the car's shaking, sits down beside the passenger rear wheel well. I get in and out of my car bed through the passenger door, sits down there, and all of the windows are covered in this like aluminum tin stuff until I can get some better uh, fitting window covers. And so I couldn't see. And I start going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, there's a Sasquatch sitting by my car. It's massive. One of the biggest I've experienced, probably, in that space. They're saying actually the ones up in Shasta were bigger. But I know it's weird because in the moment I kind of knew which one it was. There's a Sasquatch here that walks around the lake and stuff. And he's the one that banged on my tent back in December, maybe. I don't remember the timing, but so I'm doing this, and he runs up and bangs or sits down by the rear wheel well. I'm gonna wait a minute because the energy of that, the passing passerby kind of distracts my space and where I'm thinking. So just gonna wait a second, but okay. They're sitting by the rear wheel well, and I'm freaking out. And I go, what do I do? And my guides go, we need you to open the door. And I'm going, no, I'm not opening the door. And they're like, open it. I'm like, okay. And I'm conquering my fear, recognizing it. And I open the door, and this big, hairy hand reaches in, and I'm talking, it's massive. And I'm like, oh God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And within a millisecond, it's just crazy how fast they swung the door open. They grabbed my arm and they ripped me out and lifted me up and dropped me down on the ground. Now, at this point, I start bawling. I can feel them there. I'm not looking at them. I'm like looking at the ground. But when they did that, I remembered seeing the sky, the stars, the position of the moon, that I was in the same space. So I was like, I'm not dreaming. I knew that. I know how to pay attention to it. Am I dreaming? Am I conscious? That sort of thing. I'm like, wow, this is really happening. And drops me down. I just start bawling. I start freaking out. I am telling it, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. But I can't look. Like they're right beside me here, just looking down at me and just calmly sitting there, telepathically talking to me. And I'm just going, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. But this thing is huge. Like it's sitting down and I'm sitting down, but it's, 4 foot higher than I am. And I'm going, just, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. And I start going, are you Hito? Are you Kunlai? And I'm confused because I know it's not those Sasquatches. I know it's not the Sasquatches from the Appalachias or the other ones that I've met. But I'm like, why can't I think of your name? Why can't I think of your name? And he's just smiling, kind of sitting there. And it's like, oh, it's Mike. It's the one from here type of thing. I have a chipmunk coming up here too, Mike in the camera. But they were working on me with fear, and I went into a panic attack. They're like, there's no need to be afraid. I kept saying, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you. And it'll be okay. They kept being like, it'll be okay. But I ended up having a panic attack. I had so much fear come up and processing that I went into a full-blown panic attack. And that's when everything went black. And then I woke up back in my car. And when I woke up back in my car, I was like, did that really happen? And I look outside, stars, moon, everything's in alignment the way it should be. And I asked my guys, I'm like, what's going on? And they go, processing fear. He came to help you process fear for more physical interaction, more, uh, don't go in my car, chipmunk, more physical interaction, more experience with them. And so, yes, I do experience fear, and I do experience the healing and the processing. And it's something people should be aware of, that the you can have tons and tons of experiences, but to sit there with them is a different experience altogether. It it is something that brings out the deepest hidden trauma and programming that you have to process, and it's okay. We're all healing it. So I love you all, grateful for each and every one of you.